Hello, and welcome again to another episode of the Odd Fellows Oddcast. Joining me today is Shawn Cannon of South Carolina. He is one of the founding members of the Improved Order of the Patriotic Odd Fellows. And he's going to be telling us today how it is that organization started, which was something that started recently, and how it is like a spinoff. It started from the Grand United Order of Odd Fellows. And so, Shawn, do you want to first tell us a little bit about how long you've been an Odd Fellow and what brought you to it? And then we can talk about the Improved Order.
Okay, I've been an Odd Fellow for about 8 years now. A friend of mine told me about it, and I liked the idea, and he told me who might could help me bring it back to South Carolina. But the person was taking a little too long, so I did my own research, found out how to get in contact with them, then find out several other things that South Carolina itself had its own incorporation for Odd Fellows as they broke away. So we reestablished that and joined the other national. But recently we broke away from the national because we found several irregularities in their operation. So we broke away.
Okay. So I don't know, if you want to discuss any of the details about, the irregularities and all that. But my understanding is that what you said, whenever you say national, do you mean Grand United Order of Odd Fellows?
Yes, national. Grand United has a national body called Grand United Odd Fellows of American jurisdiction, which they are still a branch of the England version of Grand United Order Odd Fellows. We made a choice to leave them earlier this year.
I see. Okay. And so then whenever you were talking about the, I don't know if I remember the exact word you used, but it was like not national, but your jurisdiction. How do you say?
It was jurisdiction of South Carolina, which is American national, which America covered North America, Canada, the Bahamas, Puerto Rico, as well as the Netherlands.
Okay. Cuba. Nice. So then those are all under, you said, American national?
American jurisdiction of Grand United. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with how all that works. We have our own equivalents to all those things with the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, and we have a sovereign Grand Lodge which oversees everything internationally, and then we have our different jurisdictions, like usually state or countries.
We basically doing the same thing. They just titled a little bit different. Like y'all based out of Wilmington, North Carolina. And we based out of South Carolina, the new Improved Order of the Patriotic Odd Fellows. So we in sister states as our new national, and your current national are doing.
Yeah, I remember you telling me when we first started talking about what it is that y'all have done, is that you started with the Patriotic Order of Odd Fellows as a name that you could claim as part of what you're doing with the Improved Order of Patriotic Odd Fellows. Yeah.
Yes. We were originally founded as the South Carolina District was founded as South Carolina District number 13 of Grand United Order Odd Fellows. So that was founded in 1903, but we was founded in the late 1800s. But incorporation started in 1903. Then once we broke away, we wanted to keep the corporation, but we didn't want everybody to get confused about which one we did. So under the corporation, we formed the Improved Order of the Patriotic Odd Fellows, which it takes from the history of Odd Fellows.
Right. And we were talking about how you got the Improved Order. I know that, I've actually had a few thoughts here and there about how great it would be to have an Improved Order of Odd Fellows, just the IOOF, that would be without all of the, kind of baggage of the past, of all the divisions and splits and all that sort of stuff, just to start something new that would be improved. And so I'm really, delighted to hear that you started your own Improved Order. And if I remember correctly, you said that you borrowed the words Improved Order from another fraternity.
Yes, I am an elk, and I have several members who are elks. Uh, they were saying if you want to make it a little bit different, take from your past and take from your present. The ELTS, or the IBLEP ELTS, which is another national organization that we both belong to, had the name improved because it's two versions of the ELTS. So we took the improved and then took the name order of the Patriotic Oddfellows, because the Patriotic Oddfellows mean loyalty, and we like that version, so we just combined the two to form the improved order of the Patriotic Oddfellows.
Oh, that's really great. Now, do you want to tell us about what it took to, break away? I know that it wasn't just, just your lodge or just your district. There was more to it than that. So, could you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. For the past 7 years, I found out, and we found out that the National didn't have anything copyrighted or saved. So we wanted to save and protect our history, but in doing so, somebody misconstrued what we was doing and what I was doing, and made it seem like we were doing something bad. So we got the copyrights to all the rituals, general laws, as well as household books, patriotic books, as well as the past Grand Master Council, and all the books basically. So we got that, and then once we had that and we cleaned it up, and before we announced to them what we did, what I did, and they was congratulating. Then somebody misconstrued our actions, and it caused a rift between myself as well as Grand United.
Hmm. Okay. Now, you mentioned something about household. So I know that for everybody who is in the Independent Order of Oddfellows, that we're all familiar with the Rebecca's Order.
Yes.
And that's one of the organizations that falls under the Independent Order of Oddfellows. So Grand United and also your organization also has something that is somewhat similar that's called the Household of
Ruth.
Ruth.
The Household of Ruth. It
Right.
came from the Book of Ruth.
Uh-huh.
It actually was founded before Order of the Eastern Stars.
Hmm.
It was founded by a guy named Patrick Reason, who's also a Mason
Hmm.
in New York. But so he founded that version of the sisterhood to the brothers, which was called a Household of Ruth. So we
Right.
still kept the name of that, just have our version run by the improved order of the Patriarch Oddfellows.
Okay, great. Now, I did ask, and I meant to circle back around to this, and that is how many lodges, how much support did you need, for splitting off? Because I've actually seen on the website that there was, this announcement of the new improved order of Patriotic Oddfellows. So, how much support did you have? What did it take? You want to talk about that?
Uh, yeah, I'll talk about it. It was a small group of us who originally started. We paid Grand United money, but because the amount of new lodges we was bringing around, um, the national got scared. It seemed to got scared of how many lodges, because we had more lodges than a certain jurisdiction, and they didn't want to lose seat or power. So after they at the pre-active, we decided to break away. So and we started spreading out the lodges that we had across the country. So we have lodges right now in um, Louisiana, Philadelphia. We have one in North Carolina, Maryland. We got several. We got lodges in Maryland. We also got lodges in Ohio as well as Colorado, and we got some in Texas. So it took a few of us to vote and make a decision, because, as I said, we were incorporated. We have our own 501c3, our own EIN number. So it didn't take a lot to do it. It just took the courage to actually step out on faith.
Oh, I hear you. Yeah, I would imagine that it was probably upsetting for a lot of people. I mean, there's been times when, since all of this, pretty much started in England, and there were these, lodges that would get set up in different places, like in the United States. Here, there, some of them survived and some didn't, and then one person kind of gets together enough people to form a larger entity than just a lodge level. So there's like a higher level, a jurisdiction level, and then eventually, in the U.S. For the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, we formed our own Sovereign Grand Lodge, and so that was something that it took a while, and it sounds to me like you were able to communicate with enough people quickly enough. Obviously, it's a different time. We have a lot of
It's
means
no
of talking by phone and Zoom, and it's a bit different than it was way back then.
Yes, but the hatred of going on your own still remain the same.
Oh yeah.
My name has been dragged through the mud through members of Grand United and even the hierarchy of Grand United. Even send out emails, don't talk to him because we don't like him no more. So my name and my reputation been dragged through, even though I was the most money earning person for that order, as well as the members bringing into that order. Now they choose to drag my name through private emails, through Facebook. They try to tarnish my name and my reputation, and then tarnish the name of the improved order of Patriotic Fellows because they just don't like the existence, and that now we could spread across the country, which we are working on now, and setting up different jurisdictions. We're going to be doing that and bring them in and start training these people in January. So we're going to be training people for basically a year, but they could get an understanding and the workings of the new order, how it's worked, how it's structured, and what makes us different from our father.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
we were the wayward son, you could
Yeah.
call it.
Well, I hear you. I do know that from my experience with the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, that a lot of times the leadership, the people that we elect, that they're expected to be leaders, people that we would want to follow, sometimes kind of lose track of what it is that people are doing at a local level. I know that with our current grandmaster that we have in California, he's a great guy. He's more concerned with people doing things in the community, and that's exactly what it is that we should be focusing on. Whatever it is that our leadership, should be doing, should be helping us and enabling us to do good in the community, to do good works
Yes.
instead of the politics. Because if they have a problem with you bringing in more people, and you're actually leading people. If people are following you, it means you're a leader. You may not be an elected leader, but people are following you, and it makes you a leader. So of course they probably feel threatened by that. So whenever you've got followers, they can deal with it one of two ways. They can embrace you and say, hey, you're doing a great job and we'll help you because we can see that you're helping us. Or they can, I guess, do what they did there, which is, say, oh, yeah, don't talk to that guy. I can't stand it whenever people say, oh, well, don't talk to that guy. That's just horrible, I think. I don't think that's brotherly at all.
Well, your order, my order, and the other order that I used to be a part of all follow one simple concept: friendship, love, and truth.
Mm-hmm.
But because of the lies that was told about me to the hierarchy, for them to make decisions and decide what they're going to do, they have try to discredit me and try to keep people from following me and wanting to open up new states and go across the country. Um, so that been a big issue. But
Yeah.
the whole matter about it, we built on friendship, love, and truth. No matter how when you take the politics out, take people's out, the whole concept still remain the same. But it's just a matter about the individual. Are they going to follow their oath to what they believe in or the politics they believe in. And and nowadays, the hierarchies in the Grand United choose to follow the politics and try to protect their own means than actually finding out the truth for themselves and talking and discussing something where it won't have to be other orders coming from it. 'Cause a lot of the other states have broken away in the past, but we was working on a rebuilding on building that, but now we're broken away because of the actions they showed us.
No, I hear you. Yeah, it's really tough whenever you try to put your trust, in the leaders that are elected to do the right thing. They should be following friendship, love, and truth, and they should be loving you. They should love you as a brother, and it doesn't sound to me like they are. I'm really sad to hear that.
Yeah, so we paid them this year. We paid them about a little over $5,000 for new additional lodges, and we paid another 900 something for new households. And they have yet to refund the money. They have yet to issue out the charters. So those type of things made us break away. So now they have decided on the new board of directors and the United Committee of Management. They decided to give them a certain amount of time, and then they're going to find out they're going to request the money one more time. They already did it once, but they're going to try to request it again. And it's just simple. Just pay the money back. They cash a check on a 501c3 federal account, but they don't want to honor the agreement when you cash a check. When you cash a check, you got to pay for the goods. Got to give the goods back.
Yep, absolutely. It's a contract. You're paying for something specific, and if they're not going to give it to you, then they need to give the money back. It's simple.
But they don't want to get the money back.
No, I hear you.
They want to keep the money, and they want to try to discredit me because they want to keep the money. So they figure if they discredit me, they could keep the money. I even have correspondence where we asked for the money back, and they say they're not going to give the money back. So that's politics, and that's becoming thieves.
Yeah. Now, I remember a while back, I wanted to get somebody from the Grand United Order on the podcast, like you're doing, and just out of very simple, hey, let's be friends. Let's tell the truth. Let's just share about things. I didn't have any particular, agenda in mind other than just, having somebody come on and, talk about the order, because if you're an odd fellow, you believe in friendship, love, and truth, then you should be interested in everybody who calls themselves an odd fellow. After all, we're sort of representing the same, thing. So they weren't interested in doing that. And I even told them, I said, look, I'll be happy to, join your order. And I'm out here in California. I hope you don't mind. And they were like, no, we don't want to do that. So I thought that was, and it's, I don't think that it should be, I don't want to assume that it's like a skin color, thing. My understanding is that the Independent Order and the Grand United Order have actually had some history of, being brotherly over the past few years, because one of our sovereign grandmasters, I think that you know him, right?
Yes, I know him. His name, he's a very good man. He joined my state when I was a part of that order, but the old guard chooses to avoid any type of media or publicity. But to do anything and get your name out there, you have to be involved. I run the largest website for Grand United Order Fellows, which is now changing over in the process by the board. It's changing over to the new improved Order of the Patriotic, which we are willing to spread across the country. But the old order, they're not so much wanting to spread. They want to keep things the way it is so that it could stay in control. For the few who could stay in control, could stay in power and in control. But we believe in friendship, love, and truth. So we don't look at skin color. We don't look at your gender. We just look at your heart. If your heart is about friendship, love, and truth, we want you.
Yeah. No, I remember you and I talking about one of the differences. You're doing something a little different than the Grand United Order, which is that you're, if I remember this correctly, you have to correct me if I'm incorrect on this, but you're allowing women to have a greater say in the larger leadership than with the Grand United Order. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, the improved order of Patriotic allowing females to be on the committee of management. With that being said, the Grand United does not allow females. They control how much money they receive or how much money they can receive. Such as the past Grand Chamber, if a state has it, is only allowed to keep $10 in their bank account, and that's just ridiculous. You can't work or do any type of work with only having $10 in the bank. But the National Grand United, which is run by the Committee of Management, could have as much money as they choose to. So we believe that a woman should have a voice, and a woman can be a leader of the household and make money just like the brothers can. So we believe in equal sharing of information.
Yeah, I completely agree too. I know that one of the good things about the improved Order of Odd Fellows is that, sorry, the Independent Order of Odd Fellows, is that we now have a sovereign Grand Master who is a female, and that's because it took somebody who would become a Grand Master at a jurisdictional level, and then rose up to be the leader of everything. As a matter of fact, this year she was sworn in as the sovereign Grand Master. So good for us for having some diversity and inclusion. And I applaud your efforts to create more inclusion and representation, because I don't think that I think that anybody who, like, in your organization, if you pay money to the leadership, that you should have some say in where that money goes to. And evidently, you're saying that in the Grand United, the Household of Ruth members don't really have a say, direct say. There's no representation.
Yeah, that order only have males on the committee of management. They don't allow females. We have certain spots that we allow certain females on our board, so they make it a little bit different. Now, the national version of Grand United has a female head, but South Carolina, but the American jurisdiction do not allow females to be on the committee of management, and we think that's a little unfair, and we wanted to bring more equality to our new order that we're bringing about.
Okay. Now, just to clarify, because I know I had this question in my mind just now. Is there a difference between, and I mean, as far as like leadership, are they a part of the same? Is there a difference between the American and the national? Like baseball, it's American League, National League. How does that work?
There's jurisdictions, and so Grand United had different jurisdictions. They are Australia, Ghana. Some people work with the England version, and we work. The other one work with just the North American jurisdiction. And the national represent everybody in North America, Canada, on the Bahamas, as well as Puerto Rico and Cuba. They represent all of them. So that's their national, but they still answer to England, but they oversee those different areas which was given to them in the late 1800s or 1700s when it became their own jurisdiction.
Okay.
So, but our new group that we're started, we could go any place and every place now because our arms are untied. And so they freed us up in a way. So we were just only staying in South Carolina, but we had members joining from different areas in the country, and we think the board thinks that they may got afraid of what we was doing, so they trying to dismantle us before we get ready to get started. But we don't. Our hearts are in it for the right reason. Not for popularity, not for money, because there is no money in a fraternal. It just you give of your time, your energy, and your money. Yeah. So we just hope to continue giving to those who need it.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how your organization or how the Grand United works in terms of ownership of lodges. So, I know that in California, we have a thing that requires that if we have a lodge that owns a building, that the deed for the building has to go into the name of our jurisdiction. So that if we fold, if the lodge disappears, then the jurisdictional level, they can actually, sell that property and do things with it that they feel are necessary as far as the money. Because if everybody's really old and they die off, then what do you do with the building? So it should belong to somebody.
Um,
So
Actually,
how,
we're the
how do you
same
guys do it?
way. We're
Yeah.
the same. We were the same way when we was part of them. We have a building that was founded in the late 1800s that we still currently have. The name of it is still in South Carolina name, not the national name, so that when we broke away, certain things came with us that they didn't have
Hmm.
that we already have. We informed on what we was doing, but no one seemed to pay attention because they didn't. They was just thinking about their politics, not what the procedures we were doing to make ourselves as strong and legitimate as possible. So, we do have a building that was founded in the late 1800s that we currently now use, and we also work with another organization, and they run their business out of that. We do a lot of community service out of that location. So, we do the same thing and follow just in case the national folds. We have our own buildings owned by our own districts, and the national wasn't part of the district, the D.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I know that you guys have got a lot of really great history. I know that I've done some research on this, and there are places of the Underground Railroad with used Oddfellows houses, to go from the south to the north. I don't know
Yeah,
if you know much about that history, but I remember reading about it, and I was like, oh, this is really great. There's really some great stuff there. And do you know much about that? And also, too, there's some really great people who were Oddfellows under the original Grand United from England. Great people. So,
yes. The Grand United Order of Our Fellows history did say that we was part of what it was called the Green Book. A lot of the leaders in the Green Book, where people could travel, a color could travel to different states, were our fellows for House of Rule. In the state of Georgia, for instance, there was a whole town built by nothing but our fellows and as well as household rule that had since been washed away and merged into different areas throughout time for different reasons. Um, but there was a whole town of our
wow.
fellows at
What
one
was the
time.
name of it? Do you know offhand?
No, I can't think of the name of it, but they merged it into different communities when segregation was going on because they didn't want a entirely group of Afro American people to have their own town. But
Yeah.
if you look up the history of our fellows for the Afro American history, that we was part of the Oklahoma. There was the Oklahoma, Texas, as well as the Renaissance thing. History of financial. They had a lot of people of wealth who built their wealth throughout the community, which gave back to us. We had in South Carolina a person color uh, who was one of the lawyers for the Brown versus School Board of Education. We had a guy who has helped founded several HBCUs, all the HBCUs in South Carolina and a lot of other areas was founded by members of Grand United Order Our Fellows. So we do have that rich history. We don't claim all the history as to improve, but we do claim the history that came from our state, and that's why we have been partnered with the Hartsville Museum to display that. We have records that predate death certificate. So we have records older than our state death certificate records now, and we are partnered with the state library as well to showcase all of that type of information.
Yeah, you sent me a link, which went to South Carolina. What is it, a library?
Yes, the state library.
State library, yeah, that's right. And I started going through some of the documents that have been scanned and uploaded, and it's like really great stuff that if only the other orders would do the same thing, it would be really great, because you've got all of the sort of life events that are really important for research in terms of like genealogy. So like, I have a family tree and I research it. And, I always wondered, like, why doesn't the Oddfellows actually, put this stuff, like get it digitized? And, they could even, I'm not saying that they should make money off of it, but they could, if they really wanted to, they could just take that database and, make it available for a fee, because there are other organizations that do that sort of thing. And there's just so much data that they could share if they, wanted to, but they just, for whatever reason, they don't make it any kind of, priority. It would actually, for everybody who uses, say, ancestry.com or something like that, and they want to do family research, they'll see Oddfellows like as a source of information. And then people go, oh, I had an Oddfellow grandfather, or, oh, I had a great grandfather, Oddfellow, or I had somebody that was, in the Rebekahs or House of Ruth. So, it would increase our awareness in general among the people who do genealogical research, at least. As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine, before she joined the Oddfellows, she and I were Facebook friends. We're both Marine veterans. And she mentioned, because I had posted something about Oddfellows, that she had a grandfather, I think, who was an Oddfellow. And she wanted to know more about Oddfellowship. And so I shared what I could with her, and she joined. And so did her husband and their son. So, this is the genealogy angle, I think, is really great, because people who really care about history, I think, are naturally inclined to want to know more about Oddfellows and maybe even join. So I applaud that effort of yours to share the information, because people want that information. They don't want to think that the information that they would like to access, that somebody made a decision, oh, we're not going to share that.
Yes. Actually, we're one of the only states that have a history going back that far. Most states lost their history of that nature, but we was fortunate when we reacquired our old building for our district grand lodge. All our records was in that building. One thing that we found out, and we already knew, in the household of Ruth, a female could join at a young age of 16 to be a member. So, but we wanted to share that history, because just about every Afro-American family in South Carolina have a relative in either in the Oddfellows or the household of Ruth. And we believe that should be shared, and people to understand who you are, where you came from, and how you got here. So we wanted to share that and grow.
No, I see the value in that. There are some historians that have, tried to figure out, because these records aren't really available. They've tried to figure out their best estimation, how big, it was Oddfellows, whether it's the Grand United Order or whether it's the Independent Order, whatever orders of Oddfellows, and other fraternities too. So like Masons and stuff like that. So they estimated, and this is weird because this is a really big range, somewhere between 20% to 40% of all adults in the United States between like 1900 and 1910, turn of the century, between 20 to 40% of people were in at least one fraternity. And the reason for that was primarily because it was like the only form of insurance that you could get anywhere. And you had to be, of good moral character. You couldn't own a bar, a tavern. You couldn't be involved with anything that was, too shady. And, it was very Christian based. It's like they wanted people of their own kind. So atheists were not allowed. And it was a way of kind of getting people together that may not have had anything in common otherwise, to support each other and have this form of insurance. And a lot of people joined, and so many people joined, in fact, that it was like if you had 10 people and 10 adults, it was somewhere between 2 to 4 of those 10 adults were in at least one fraternity. And it didn't matter if you're black or white, man or woman. That was the statistics that the historians came up with. That's a lot of people. So, if you're not a first, second generation immigrant in this country, chances are chances are really good that you've got at least one person in your family who is in Oddfellows or another fraternity. Now, of course, Oddfellows was the largest.
Yes.
And then Masons were second after that. But then that shifted over time. We got more Masons now than we do Oddfellows. And but the important thing is really the history. You talk about, where did you come from? Who were your grandparents, great-grandparents, et cetera? And these are just good things to know, because most people have never heard of Oddfellows. They wouldn't know an Oddfellow from, a total stranger. They just wouldn't have any idea. And it'll continue to be that way. And Oddfellows will continue to shrink and shrink and shrink until we get leadership that recognizes how important it is for us to grow membership and to not be, elitist and say, oh, well, you want to join? No, you can't do that. We don't want you to join. That's makes no sense.
I think that it should be more cooperation between the different orders, from Masons to Independent to Grand United to the Improved. I think we should all, and there's other organizations like the Knights of Pythias and the Elks. I think we all should be able to network and work together, because we're stronger as a people working together than alone.
I
So
completely agree.
My goal one day is to try to get a feature recognition between the Independent as well as the Improved Order of the Patriotic. I know that the former organization we were a part of, they didn't want that, but we want that now. A few years ago, I don't know if you know this, I sent a member of my state who was to speak at y'all national in Wilmington. It was the first time ever a Grand United member actually spoke at y'all national convention, and the only time actually that a full member spoke. We have some hybrids where some people are both Independent as well as Grand United, but it was the first time just a Grand United spoke at your national convention in Wilmington. So I'll brace change, I'll brace growth. And the group that I work with does the same. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to take a while for us to get on our feet completely, but with faith in each other and in the higher being above, we plan on doing such thing as growing and continue on with our future endeavors.
Well, that's fantastic. I absolutely applaud your efforts. I'm really very proud of what it is that you've accomplished, and I know that you're not the only one. I'm sure that there are other people that you could acknowledge. Is there anybody in particular you'd like to call their names out so that they can know that?
Yes, I have. She's an elder daughter, and she was the first one to buy into what we talked about, and she didn't like the hypocrisy of the old order that I used to belong to, and she has been a great help and sounding board to me. Her name is Sharon Sanders. She's out of Louisiana, and she's bringing in and helping building up the female version of the households. We also have several other people who are very great help to me and to others. such as several other people from Louisiana who were some of the first ones to say, hey, let's do something different. Let's build something solid that people could actually believe in again and trust again, not just something for people to just get titles in. So Sharon was the first one. So I do want to commend her and thank her for that and for her support for doing so. So we have several other leaders. I haven't spoken, so they're gonna be coming out on their own sooner or later. They're trying to build up their people in the various states that we're already in. So I'm not going to try to hinder their process, but I look forward to everybody being able to be on a joint meeting, a joint call with me, either yourself or on our streaming service as well. But I look forward to all those leaders coming out once we start and finish our training and get solid and they understand the order that they join and the information and power that they now possess and history, rich history that they come from.
Well, that's really awesome. Now, uh, for those who are watching this, and Shawn, I don't know if you're ready to give the information, but if somebody wanted to join the Improved Order of Patriotic Oddfellows, is there a process for that they should follow?
Well, there's two processes they can follow. One, I'm on Facebook on Shawn O'Cannon. You can send me a message and I will respond. Or you can go to our website, goof.org, and you can fill out a short online application, and someone will call you back and see how we could help you. Because they only take 5 members to start a lodge or a household in our order, but there's over 16 seats in a lodge for our order.
Wow,
And so,
16 seats.
yeah, so you can't say nobody can never say they can't get no work because there's 16 seats. Actually, there's 19 if you count
Wow.
correctly, but in the household, there's 12 seats. So there's actually no one could actually say, I don't have no work to do. I can't get a seat. You got plenty enough seats to go around and to spare.
And that's good because we in my lodge we always make it a practice if somebody shows up on a regular basis, we always give them a seat. We give them
Yeah,
a
yeah,
title, something that they can focus on and contribute, because it's a fuller experience whenever you've got new people that are learning their roles and learning the history and learning how things function. Everybody enjoys it a lot more.
yes. I am a Mason, as I was, if I didn't say that, but I learned from being a Mason and being an elk, being a Knights of Pythias, that we have to give people chances.
Hmm.
Now, but in the improved order, our fellows, we use truancy. If you ain't coming to enough of the meetings and trying to be involved in the lodge and not just going out to a banquet to eat, but the community aspects, you're not eligible to run for office. So you have to work to even make your own self eligible. So if you don't come to a meeting, you don't come to the community events, you're not even going to be eligible to keep your seat or run for a seat, because we don't want title chasers. We want people of good character and who have good hearts, who want to give back, not just somebody who want to add another notch in their belt to say, I did this, I was this.
Hmm.
We want people to
Yeah.
say, I am this.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's one of the things that new people in that I've met have a hard time understanding is, why is it that people would join a lodge and then not show up, and they would pay their dues. So every year they send their dues money, but you never see them, you never hear from them. And anytime that there's some kind of a thing for the lodge, we need to send out a letter to them because they're a member, but they don't do anything. So I've always had a tough time understanding that, and I've had people that I've brought in that have a tough time understanding it too. And I like the idea of having a truancy policy where if you don't show up, then you get less, as an incentive to be involved and do more. Otherwise, why are you a member? You know, why call yourself an odd fellow if all you do is you just send a check every year?
Well, with that truancy policy, it allows us to not let you be able to elevate higher in the organization.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want people to say, well, I pay my dues, so I should be eligible to get this degree or go to this next level. We want you to work and earn your way. It's not about the money, it's about your caring for others. That's why we formed this, to do this. So we, you know, we don't talk a lot. We are still working on building, and hopefully we even get out to your state if we
That'd be
can.
great.
And
I I'll tell you now. I'll join. I will. And the reason why is simple. I love the idea that you're in different fraternities. I love that
yes,
idea. And
yeah,
my dad was actually a moose, and he was an elk, and he was in the Eagles. And somehow, even though he never served in the military, he actually had a membership in the VFW, which I don't quite understand how that happened, but it did.
well, you get friendships. Friendships allow people to move in different ways.
Right.
Like I'm a 32nd degree Mason. I'm Knights Templar, so I'm on all the Yorkite sides. I didn't. I chose. I haven't. I chose not to go 33rd right now, but I chose to at least go 32nd to learn more about my craft.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the Elks in my community, and I joined Knights of Pythias. And the last things I joined was one of the last things I joined was Odd Fellows.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I joined Odd Fellows, it was a whole different experience, and I'm happy I did it. I've been dragged through the mud. I've been stepped on a few times, but my faith in the motto friendship, love, and truth still remain the same. No matter what they try to do, you can't break a person who believe in a higher being, who believe in a better society. I felt it even helped me with my faith. I'll be honest.
Hmm.
I had troubles with that in the past, but by being an I felt it helped me understand and join the church, and I got baptized
Hmm.
recently. So those values and understanding things helped me with my faith. I'm not gonna say it's gonna help everybody, but it helped
Right.
me with my faith
Yeah.
to mend some broken stuff within myself, and for me to be able to continue helping others.
Well, that is the kind of the command, that we have in the Independent Order of Oddfellows. You got to go help people. And I know a lot of Oddfellows that just prefer to just stay in the walls of the lodge and not go out there and do anything. And that's really sad.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The new improve, if you have been following us on Facebook or join our, we have an introduction group on Facebook that we add people to get the interest before they join, and they can ask questions and tell us about you. We've been doing community. We do community service with a group called Hope Center. We give out free clothing, free food every third Saturday. So we go around collecting old clothes, as well as cooking meals for people. We doing one on the 12th of this month as well. We do it on the third Saturday, and we trying to expand more as we grow. We're expanding more into different areas to give out clothes and free food. Um, just just give it out. We ain't asking anybody to join our order. We ain't asking nobody for money. We just want to help our community and our people in general. No matter what race or color or nationality you're from, we just want to give back, solely on giving back.
that's
So
awesome. Very good. Well, Shawn, unless there's anything else that you would like to mention, I think you said that your website was guoof.org, right?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
great. So if
that's
anybody's
our
got any
website.
questions, they can go there. Also, the Facebook group, which was how I actually contacted you initially,
Yeah,
if I remember correctly. There's a Facebook group, and the name of the Facebook
It's
group
called the
is
Improved Order of the Patriotic Oddfellows. If
okay.
you
Great, so
find
they
that
can go there.
name, you could join. We will accept you and join. We're not about the drama. If you're gonna call drama or confusion, we'll remove you from the group. But we want good-hearted people who have faith and want to do more, and be more,
Mhm.
be better than what you were, and be greater than what you can be.
Mhm.
By showing you a way of the friendship, love, and truth, which we so hardly believe in. So we're there for anybody who would like to learn more or be more. We are open to you, and we are there for all closed people who have felt their voice wasn't heard, for wanting to help and give back. We want you to help and give back. We expect you to help and give back. If you don't, then we have a problem. But if you do, then you don't have no problems for me or the board.
Okay, fair enough. Well, thank you again, Shawn. I really appreciate the time that you've taken to introduce the improved order to others here. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And for everybody who is listening to or watching this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And we will catch you next time on the Oddfellows Oddcast.
All
Thanks
right.
again, Shawn.
Thank you.